I'm not a general manager. Okay? I'm not. I'm an idiot that comments here on YouTube. But let me just throw out a quick idea, real quick. And you guys tell me if this makes sense or not. If the Dallas Mavericks have made a decision to trade Luka, that they don't believe in him, maybe they don't believe in his conditioning, maybe they don't believe in his commitment, maybe they just don't want to drop $345 million for Luka, hypothetically. You don't want to create a bidding war between 10 NBA teams that will give you their entire franchise for Luka? You don't want to create some kind of frenzy where the league all knows and the best GMs and the best teams out there, by the way, idiot front offices too, that say to themselves, we'll give up whatever you want for a chance at Luka, whatever it is that you want. You don't want to pin teams together, 5, 7, 10, 12, 15 teams against each other to potentially say, guys, one of the greatest generational young talents is available in the market, who, by the way, is a global icon and a global star, is available in the market. These might be once in franchise opportunity moments to potentially get a guy like this. You don't want to open him up to the market? If you don't want Luka, the least you can do for your franchise is let other GMs in the NBA know he may be available. You want to play a little poker? Do you want to at least not show all your hands and let everybody know, guys, listen, I'm not telling you he's available. I'm just saying, if you got an offer that you want to make, we'll take a look at it. He's probably not going anywhere, but we'll take a look at it. I don't know what Nico Harrison was doing. The Lakers just completely fleeced the NBA. Rob Pelinka didn't even have to pick up the phone and call the Mavs. The Mavs picked up the phone and called the Lakers. All right, let's keep going here. Let's go back to his justification. Again, I know there's some people that are going to sit here. Maybe they're going to make an argument that, you know what? He knows what he's doing. He's made some other trades that have made sense. And there's a justification for what he's doing. I want to keep going in the article here. By the way, thank you for all hanging out and being a part of the show. Let's keep going here. Here's more of Nico Harrison's justification. We really feel that defense wins championships, and we think the players that we're bringing in add to the culture, which is important to what Jason Kidd and I have been building here from day one, which, by the way, there are clips here of Jason Kidd and Nico Harrison, and Nico saying that Jason Kidd had no idea the deal was going down. And he was asked about the trade, and he's like, I'm really just focused on this game coming up. So Nico Harrison doesn't tell his coach that he's losing Luka, a team that just made it to the NBA Finals 8 or 9 months ago, that are clearly building towards something that could potentially be special. And you don't let Jason Kidd know that you're trading your point guard, and then you start the presser, and Jason Kidd's response is, guys, I'm really just focused on this game tonight. So you don't want to talk about Luka's gone? Okay, you don't want to talk about Luka's gone. Keep reading this. Jason Kidd and I've been building here from day one. And then obviously, when you get an all-NBA player who's also a first-team all-defensive player, we think that's going to help us where we need it the most on the defensive end. I'm not sitting here trying to tell people that the Dallas Mavericks didn't get talent back. They got talent back. They did. Anthony Davis is, I've said this before. He's one of my favorite players in the league. Maybe some people will be like, you're being too dramatic. No, I'm a big fan of Anthony. He plays on both sides of the floor. I think he's one of the best two-way players in the NBA. Go ask Laker fans about Max Christie. They love themselves some Max Christie. 21 years old. We were watching him last night. He did a fantastic job on Jalen Brunson. Always has a hand in in one of the offensive players' face. I think is kind of one of the underrated young players in the NBA. It's got a lot of opportunity. We're talking Luka, who's 25, about to turn 26, who's an icon in the game right now. You don't want to at least see what other teams would offer for him? What if, hypothetically, let me just bring up some BS here. What if the Milwaukee Bucks was like, take Giannis, take I'm again speaking out of my you-know-what. Take Giannis. We got 3 first rounders that we have coming up. I'm making shit up. Okay. You don't want to see if there's some other teams out there. What would teams that have crazy draft capital, what would they be willing to give up? What would the Oklahoma City Thunder be willing to give up? I'm naming off teams off the top of my head. What are some teams out there that got really young players, but also have some veterans you could still kind of try to win now? And by the way, we'll give you as many picks as you can possibly think. They took 1 pick from the Lakers. Lakers have 2 first rounders, which isn't crazy capital. You couldn't get Anthony Davis, Max Christie, Austin Reeves, and 2 first rounders for Luka? If I told you that was the trade, I swear to God, I'd be sitting here and I'd be saying, I think the Lakers still do that trade. Why? Because they're getting a global icon in Luka that they're going to go build their franchise around for the next 7, 8, 10 years. I'll say this, and there was a quote out here. I'll stop sharing the article here for a quick second, and we'll keep going. Let me stop sharing here real quick. All right, where's this? Okay, there we go. It's kind of funny. I haven't read any of the comments here, and I don't know if there's going to be more people that are just like, yeah, he's right. What the hell were they doing? Or there's going to be people saying, whatever, maybe defending the trade or whatever the case is. I kind of have a little bit of a pulse what I'm thinking. Really, the reaction that I would love to have more than anything else is fans that are actually cheer for the Dallas Mavericks, or other NBA fans that are just kind of sitting back. Who was it on the Ringer? I think it was this morning. Bill Simmons was on there. There were a couple other guys that were on there, and all of them were like, how do they do this? And they're talking about the Lakers franchise. They're saying, how do they always do this? How do they always end up with a unbelievable star? Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant. I'm not talking about top 15 player in the league. I'm talking about top 5 player in the league. How do they always do it? They always find a way. And in this case, this is the more puzzling ones, because this actually had the Dallas Mavericks calling the Los Angeles Lakers to make a move. All right, let me keep going here. I want to stay on this Mavs thing here for a quick second, and then we'll keep going. All right, and I'll look at some of these comments here in just a little bit, but I want to keep going to what I was saying. If you're Nico Harrison, one man's opinion, your career is on the line. Your career in the NBA right now is on the line, because Nico Harrison is only going to be remembered for one thing. One or the other, okay? Nico Harrison traded Luka Doncic, and it's the biggest mistake, one of the biggest mistakes in NBA franchise history, or Nico Harrison traded Luka, and even though Luka went on to do whatever he did, and he's still a top 5 player in the league and whatever else, Dallas Mavericks got a chip. They got a championship. Because now if you're Nico and you don't actually win an NBA championship, and I don't care where they get to in the Western Conference, I'm talking about you cashed in and you won an NBA championship. Then he could shut people up. Even if Luka goes on to do whatever he does and is a phenomenal player, and the Lakers build around Luka, and the Lakers find themselves in a position where they win a championship or 2 or whatever the case is, he basically now is, you have to win an NBA championship with the roster that you just put together. And if you don't win an NBA championship, then people are going to say, the 25-year-old he traded, who got them to the NBA Finals the year before, that's all this man will ever be remembered as. I don't think I'm being dramatic either. I swear I don't think I'm being dramatic. I think the way I'm describing it is exactly how I feel like people are going to remember Nico Harrison for. They're going to either remember him as the guy, and it's most likely going to be this one, that traded a generational talent, or they're going to remember him as he traded a generational talent, but the Mavs still cashed one in. And we'll find out what happens. There was a quote. I saw this on X this morning. All right. Saw this on X. Mark Cuban. This is back in 2020. Mark Cuban's quote when asked about trading Luka in 2020. Okay. If I had to choose between my wife and keeping Luka, catch me at my lawyer's office preparing for a divorce. For those who don't know, it sounds like Mark Cuban's not involved at all. If you guys remember, there was an ownership change that had went down. I think it's the Addison family, if I'm right. A different family had basically purchased the Dallas Mavericks. Now he's become a minority owner. Cuban is a minority owner of the Mavs since selling most of his stake and is no longer involved in basketball operations for Dallas. You know, it's funny. I kind of forgot about all that. And yesterday when I was reacting to it, I'm like, Mark Cuban approved this? Mark Cuban allowed this? Like Luka? He knows what a star Luka is and his box office for the Dallas Mavericks, and kind of has turned them into a global brand because it's Luka. He approved this. And then I remembered that he's actually a minority owner. So, for all I know, he probably had no say in this at all, for all that I know. Okay, I want to keep going, and I'm going to start, looking at this from some Laker angles. I will tell you this, a lot of the reaction that at least that I saw. Let me show you guys. Okay, I'm going to show you guys just a little bit of reaction. And I'm not telling you everybody feels this way, but again, I saw this. These are some, YouTubers that are breaking it down. They're clearly Dallas Mavericks. They do this podcast for the Dallas Mavs. I just kind of was curious. I'm like, okay, what are some of the Mavs saying? Take a listen here. This is one example.
I'm going to say this real quick. There's no logic to any of this. I don't care who spins it, what Nico says to try and spin it. There's no logic to this. You're trading for a player in Anthony Davis who, yes, when he's healthy, is an all-NBA defensive player. That has not been the case for this player, even when they won a championship in Los Angeles. That has not been the case for him throughout the entirety of his career, whether he was with the Pelicans, whether he was at the Lakers. That has not been the case for Anthony Davis. You have literally traded away a Hall of Fame player at 25 years of age to the Los Angeles Lakers for a player and Anthony Davis who maybe at this stage in his career has 2-3 good years of being at the peak of his height as a player. If he stays healthy, there is no world where this trade makes any sense for Max Christie, for some 2029 first-round pick. I'm at the point, if you're going to make this move, you blow the entire thing up. That is essentially what
I'm going to stop it right there. Okay, this is why I want to play Kevin Gray Jr., who I don't know, this Dallas Mavs podcast that I have not listened to, but I wanted to let me hear from a Mavs fan. Are there Mavs fans out there that are saying, hey, I get it, I understand the angle? Does that man look like he was that he found an angle of what his front office was doing? Not to me. That's somebody that felt very, very passionate, kind of like I'm talking about. Like, what are they doing? I saw some video yesterday, Mavs fans reacting. Some people were near the arena trying to figure out, I don't know, were they trying to just gather with other Dallas Mavericks fans and saying to themselves, what the hell is going on, or whatever the case is. That's the best I can do in responding to this from a Dallas Mavericks perspective. My job is not to do that, but I want to give my opinion. I want to give my thoughts. I want to see it from the other side. My job is really to kind of react to this from a Laker perspective. But how do you not stop and take a second and take a step back and try to figure out what's the thought process from the Dallas Mavericks? I can't understand it. I'm going to close my Mavs portion of this out by just saying this. That general manager has some very large you-know-what to do what he just did. Maybe it works out and they get an NBA championship. But I am telling you, if they don't win an NBA championship in this era of Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving and, PJ Washington and some of these other players on the roster, which I'm not telling you that's not a good team. It's a good team. If they do not win an NBA championship, I don't know how Nico Harrison gets another job in any front office in the NBA moving forward. All right, if you enjoyed this clip and you want more, just subscribe to the channel. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. is the Sliwa Show. And then after every Lakers game, post-game show right here.